We are joined here by Sean Keane, who is, it says here, a comedian.
It's great to be here. A lot of drag show here. I used to live in the Castro when I first moved to San Francisco, and I was really excited about the Castro Halloween party. I decided I was a visitor to the Castro. I needed to come correct on Halloween. So I took my friend's suggestion, and I was like, I'll wear a funny costume. Here was my funny costume. I wore a flesh-colored bodysuit and a bear hat, and I was Fuzzy Wuzzy. Because Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? I thought it was hilarious. What was hilarious is that I had not realized that was the sluttiest possible costume I could have worn to the Castro Halloween party.
So, you basically tell jokes for a living, so does that make you better than the working man?
I think you're with the working man.
You're with the working man.
Because the comedian's job is basically, if you boil it down to the economics of it, you're selling alcohol.
You're
effectively a bartender or maybe a liquor distributorship person.
Have you ever been in a show where they didn't serve liquor?
Yes.
And it is brutal.
It's unsettling.
It's brutal, yeah.
It's just, why are we here?
Dicks aren't that funny.
Everyone's very nervous. Yeah, it's somebody lecturing you.
It is.
It kind of has a school
You're
feel.
thirsty. You're very, very thirsty.
I bet.
This is stupid.
And that drink ticket just doesn't mean as much.
Do you have beaver fever?
I did in the past.
Apparently, he was on a camp, and they made him wear a beaver fever t-shirt.
Yeah, all summer long.
Wow.
I look at this man and I think beaver fever.
Yeah.
Sure. Was there any reason why?
Well, we were the beavers.
Oh.
That was our slogan. I've got beaver fever.
I've got beaver fever.
We also had these shirts that I didn't have to wear that every day because they also had these polo shirts you'd wear sometimes, kind of like the Lacoste shirt with the alligator, but it just had someone had tried to cut out a beaver out of felt. But you know how an alligator has a very distinct outline, a beaver does not, and so when you just have an amorphous piece of brown felt on your chest, it just looks like an animal defecated on your shirt.
With a big poopy tail.
Yeah, it was just like...
does it say beaver fever next to it?
It didn't say beaver fever, that was it. It was just like some
a little
Kmart
brown
polo
piece.
that someone had sewed this on.
Maybe it implies that you've got beaver fever when you have a little brown furry thing sitting
Yeah, maybe there should be a handkerchief or something like that would be, the handkerchief code.
The hanky code, sure.
Yeah.
Pedophilia?
I don't think...
What color is that one?
It just has M&Ms
candy
on
colored,
it.
yeah.
I would say it's like
It's
a
candy colored swirls.
Twizzlers.
SpongeBob.
Something. Yeah.
So we normally talk about Maria I normally have a co-host, Maria. Dan is doing his best to fill in this week.
I'm trying to be obnoxious.
Just talk about yourself. She normally asks sex questions. Have you ever had sex?
I have.
What did you think of the whole event?
It's pretty good. I was into it most of the time.
Did you wear your beaver fever t-shirt?
That would have been incredible.
Okay.
Just like he's practicing what he preaches.
It really is.
I almost did a mean impersonation of Maria, but I just couldn't say jackhammering again.
Is that what she enjoys?
I don't know, but it always becomes like, oh no, is it like at the end of sex when you're crazy, you're jackhammering their heads against the wall? I mean, that's usually a Maria quote.
Have you ever done that?
With the beaver fever, it's mostly in the tail that the hammering happens.
Okay. Slapping some tail.
Right, you just pounding the wood.
Pounding it.
That's what you do.
Just chopping away at that stump.
Just gnawing on a shoulder
There
or
you
something
go.
like that.
Sounds pretty hot.
It's pretty hot.
Gnawing on a shoulder.
Now, was this? You said it was a summer camp?
No, this was just a summer job. This was.
Oh, you got paid for this.
I got paid for this.
Wow.
I was
Was
the
it
head
like
coach.
Dirty Dancing?
Oh, that would have been great.
Like there's a little girl in the corner. You're like, no one puts this little beaver in the corner.
Yeah.
Come on, baby, get out there and.
Get out there with your little pinky handkerchief.
There would have been. There was no equivalent to baby though, because everybody was either. I was 21 that year, and it was either there was 16-year-olds on the team or parents. So basically, there was no one between the ages of 16 and 31.
Wow.
Except me.
You're like the keeper of the gate in a way.
Right, the keeper of the gate, but also just kind of like a non-sexual mascot. Really, because there's no moms are gonna.
No.
Not me at least. Maybe like a like a lifeguard, that would be more enticing. Me
Yeah.
wearing a polo shirt with poop on
On
it
it,
did
it
not
just-
even the cougar fantasies. It just wasn't working out.
They didn't bring you presents and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh.
But their children weren't in the camp, were they? I always think women get kind of weird if you're supposed to be looking after their children, but you're trying to hit on them.
Yeah, no, it does not work at all.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
I
that.
tried that. They're like, shouldn't you be like, I don't know, managing?
Oh, you getting divorced? Is
The
that
cat.
something? Yeah.
Berkeley.
Yeah.
What do you think about Berkeley?
Should I just talk about Berkeley, or are you trying to set me up?
I don't know. Do you want to be set up? Do you want me to alley-oop you some jokes? Or are you just gonna freeball
Let's
it?
talk. We'll freeball it here.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to say with if you could say one thing with your comedy that you think makes you better than the working man?
Better than the working man.
Better than the working, because that's what we all
Yeah.
get into the performing arts for.
That's
To
true.
prove that we're better than our parents.
Yeah.
And that you don't need hard work or sacrifice to get
Uh-huh.
anywhere. You can just do it by getting on stage and acting as if you're somehow special.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do believe I might be at least the only comedian in San Francisco, and possibly the only comedian in America who normally says the word demonstrably in my set. And that's something that...
I say it all the time.
Right, well,
In just natural chit chat.
in natural chit-chat, yeah.
So demonstratively.
Mama Dora says it in Spanish though. What is the
Well,
Spanish?
she probably thinks it is Spanish.
What is the Spanish translation for
Hijo de
demonstrable?
tu puta madre. It's the same thing.
And I recommend you use that with your friends down in the Tenderloin at any time.
I don't think we're going to be able to televise this in any Latin-speaking countries, so that's going to be
Maybe
awesome.
too busy laughing at you.
Yeah, oh, well, that's okay. My mother,
There you
is a
go.
good woman.
Carrie's
I
the
will not
audience.
have her name brought into question. So what were you trying? So is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to bring back the word demonstrably into the
I mean,
vernacular?
I would say bring back, except I don't know if it was ever really there. Let's see, what do I...
Ever really out of the common tongue?
I don't know if it ever was really in the common tongue, even in,
Demonstrate? What does it actually mean?
like,
Does it mean fuck your mother or something like that, or?
just
I mean,
clearly, definitively.
to show in clear terms.
Yeah.
Really? Did
Well,
you?
that was,
demonstrate.
that was a better definition than I was getting, for sure.
Thank you.
DJ Dictionary over here.
No, my mother was an English teacher.
Oh. So you grew up wealthy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Came from money?
Yeah, exactly. Be English teacher and a chemical engineer.
I was an English major in college.
You actually.
How'd that go for you?
Not really using the degree.
Yeah,
Not
well.
much,
But are you
necessarily.
like a sports writer?
Yeah, I do writing stuff. I just don't. I'm still. I think it was a good subject to study.
Very
it
much
does
so.
not have really a lot of direct economic impact necessarily, but
No, but at least you speak well while you're poor.
that's true. That's true, and you can compare and contrast
Yes.
want ads.
There you go.
Look at the
you
themes
can,
behind.
You can make spelling corrections and errors in the one ad listings.
Yeah, I felt really disappointed getting out of college and working on a resume and realizing how much I'd written papers and how little familiarity I had with, how to actually format a resume.
Right.
That wasn't something that I had learned.
I always felt like in college you needed to have in order to get out of college you had to go through a little mini class at the very end, and that was like how to make food out of $5 for a week,
Right.
How to go on unemployment, how to go go get your insurance, how to go hand out your resumes, all those little medial things, because all of a sudden, I think for a lot of us, I was pretty much trained to go to college, and there wasn't a lot of plans after that. That was kind of like the goal, to go to college. I'm going to college.
Yeah.
And then you graduate, and you're like, okay, now what do I do? My whole life has led up to this, and now I'm
Right.
like, okay, so I think it should be like baby steps.
I feel it's kind of like getting rich people's hand-me-downs. It's like, this is what we used to do when it actually fucking meant something. Now we're going to sell it at an inflated price to all the fucking morons who wanted to be just like us 100 years ago.
True, but then
No,
that
I-
piece of paper gets you through lots of doors.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, look where I am now. Hanging with Andrew Roberts.
You know how many times I went to college?
How much?
None.
There you go. See,
That's
we ended
it.
up in the same place.
I learnt from the School of Hard Knocks.
When was the what age were you when you stopped going to college? I mean, school. School!
I quit school at 18 because I had to finish because I wanted to be the first in my family. to graduate from high school. So,
When you did it.
I don't really think interviews are supposed to work this way, bro.
Oh, sorry.
You're doing. I have all these.
You're really good. Maybe we can hire
And
you
actually, it got
to get you on here instead of
kind of
Andrew.
tender. I felt like we were breaking things down. It's like, you're the first one in your family.
It's like I bring,
Yeah,
I bring guests onto
next week,
interview
join
me.
me and Sean and Mama Dora. All the rest are
You're
out.
crying at the end of every show. It's like, that's why I just did
If I had an education, like if I heard that again, I'll have to
I
slap
was
you in
on a
your.
boat for 10 days to get to America and they wouldn't let me in.
You hide in a boat.
My wife makes me perform sexual acts, or she says she'll divorce me and I'll have to go back.
There you go.
Like at a time.
Yeah. I tell you what I like. What one of my favourite jokes that you told was, and I'm probably building this up a little bit, but you had a really good spin on Michael Caine's role in The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah.
You want to explain it to DJ Dank?
Yeah.
Please do.
So there's a scene in the middle of The Dark Knight where Alfred they're trying to talk about how the Joker's so crazy, and Alfred tells this story about some kind of real sketchy job he has. It's like, well, when we were working in the Foreign Service, there's a man who was stealing diamonds the size of tangerines, and he tells a story about the guy stealing it, and then Bruce Wayne says, well, how do you... Oh, and it turns out he wasn't stealing them for profit. Children were playing with the diamonds and the emeralds or whatever it was. He says, how'd you get him? And Alfred just says, we burned the forest down. And at that point, it sounds like Alfred is confessing to being a war criminal. Because he's in another country.
True.
Clearly the diamonds are
Blood
not
diamonds.
theirs. And they're dealing with this with, well, there's one thief, but we just burned this entire forest full of people down.
I know.
And that's why I had to flee to Gotham City and go under another name.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd be tried for war crimes,
I know.
Master Bruce.
Master Bruce.
And that's why it says master. He can't leave.
Can't because he has
That's
that
a
over
terrible job.
It is a terrible job. But at least if you're Michael Caine, you sound fabulous doing it.
Yeah, he was obviously in the military and he gave it all up.
Yeah.
Something went amiss there.
Blood diamonds.
It's messed up. Fleeing prosecution by the International War Court.
I just think that maybe that's why Batman's parents got killed in the first place. Because they were harboring
They were
Alfred.
running with the diamonds, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they were trying to fence the diamonds.
Yeah, so he never really had to become Batman at all. He just needed to.
Don't tell me we're going to give them an idea
drop
for
a dime on Alfred.
a new Batman
and all the
series.
psychological trauma would be gone.
There you go. See, it was all Alfred's fault.
See,
Alfred calls the
I like
angst.
comedy that teaches you something.
Right,
You
there
know
you
what
go.
I mean? I like it when you learn something. I don't like just to laugh. I like to learn while I'm doing it.
Well, I was thinking of that, and then in the third Batman movie, they casually talk about how, Alfred just goes to Europe every once in a while, just disappears, doesn't tell anyone where he is. Like, wait a second.
He's trying to bury some
spycraft? Yeah.
He's got some loose ends that he needs to tie
Well,
up.
yeah, let's.
That's the sequel. Alfred.
I just agreed.
Putting
I
out
did not supposed to
hits.
say anything.
You're the best. You're the best wingman.
I'm the best today. Yeah, I'm on my game today.
It's like,
I was agreeing with you heartily.
oh, you're my favorite. I'm never having. I hope Maria doesn't come back.
Oh.
Who said?
Yeah.
You shouldn't say.
Well, there's
Sean.
no big
Hanging out? Is she
Oh,
following
we
me?
invite you on
I'm
this
sorry I
show
said
and-
that about Maria.
Oh, you do. You say it's rubbish.
Maria, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
And
rubbish.
should we talk about jackhammering?
Jackhammer,
Yes, I think-
bang, bang.
Banging their heads against the
the
floorboard. That's exactly what we talk about.
That's
That's
how
it.
Alfred makes love, too.
I bet he does.
It's
with a tangerine.
what tangerine.
Or maybe he could be like in
She
that.
had breasts the
Yes.
size of
Tangerines.
tangerines.
Well, because he did infamously perform as a transvestite killer in Dressed to Kill.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
We
there's a
can
code.
imagine, we can
Now, is that
imagine him doing
considered
Bobby.
is that considered
That's
a
racist.
campy performance right now, or horribly offensive right now?
Well, I don't think it's horribly offensive anymore because the problem is the movie's so ill-informed about
Right.
about trans
But it
people.
seems-
but as a
yeah.
thriller note, it pretty much used the exact same one that Hitchcock used in Psycho, and it's just like that little shoebox greeting of an explanation just to kind of like give the end of the story as a little, that's the reason why. At the end. They're not going to because the movie's not about that. They're going to spend like hours on it going into
surprise
depth
at the end.
about her sexuality and how it came that way. Instead, it's just more or less treated like a gay disease or
Oh,
weird
oh,
sex disease.
And that's why you murder people, obviously.
Exactly. Same thing with
Yes.
the Psycho movie with Anthony Perkins. So
Oh yeah.
So
That's why we're all afraid of Maria.
yeah, so watch Dress to Kill if you've never seen it. It's amazing. Brian De Palma.
If anyone wants to see your style of comedy, where should they go?
I have a weekly show every Wednesday at the Dark Room in San Francisco.
Oh,
which
lovely!
Is on
Right
Mission,
over. Yeah.
Right by the Taqueria Cancun.
Great Tuckeria.
Yeah, it's really good. We want to make a deal with them. So we're too lazy to figure this out, but some kind of we had these elaborate plans that you could have tickets to the show and you could also order a burrito, but ultimately the goal for everyone was just that we would get discounted burritos. That's all we really wanted.
Dan, can you please not answer your phone?
It's a guest.
Whoa, wait. But this is a fucking guest!
Well, I had to stop it. I didn't answer it.
That's
I
a
turned it
different
off.
guest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, if anyone wants to...
Oh yeah, that's every Wednesday, and it's $5. And the other people on it are every week. It's Caitlin Gill, Bucky Sinister, San Francisco legend. That is not his government name.
Dead
surprisingly enough.
legend.
It actually does kind of sound like maybe that could be a porn star name, right?
Bucky Legend?
But Bucky Sinister, he'd have to have some kind of gimmick.
That would be a darker.
It'd
That'd
be
more
darker.
like for the leather crowd.
BDSM.
Yeah.
Yeah, BDSM crowd.
Well, and if you saw Bucky, he would pretty much have to be. I mean, he does. This big dude kind of looks like
Big dude.
John. Kind of looks like John Goodman in The Big Lebowski a little bit.
Oh, there you go.
But strong.
That sounds sinister.
Lifts kettlebells, and Nato Green is the fourth person. And we have lots of. It's fun.
Oh, I know NATO.
He's a communist.
He's funny.
I think he is literally a communist. I think
Probably
he's
so.
actually registered.
Hey,
as a
you know, like,
communist.
if you're paying 30% income tax, you're 30% communist. That's how it fucking works.
Oh yeah.
That's taxing, like, the government taxing your income is a communist ideal. Like, I think people are anti-communist. They don't even understand the fucking precept.
Yeah, well, I don't even really know exactly how functionally it's different to be socialist or communist necessarily. Like the party structure is just missing.
Socialist is more sort of friendly.
Oh, okay.
It's more sort of like, hey,
It's more French. Like, hey, we're gonna take the taxes now if that's okay. But if you have any objections, it's totally fine.
Just come right in.
We're really sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the French aren't friendly, are they?
No, they're not. I guess.
That's a really bad
And they have
point.
horrible skinheads there too.
Oh, really?
Don't
The
they?
French just do whatever they can to piss off America. They're like, what's America doing? Or they're really against racism. Alright, that's
There we
the
go.
fucking new party policy. Whatever pisses off America or the rest of the world.
Yeah.
They're not arrogant, they're defiant.
You know, that is one thing that is beneficial about the two-party system in America, though, is that you don't have as many. You're not really allowed to have a political party that is so outright racist. But they can be outright homophobic, I guess. But
That's because homosexuals have never taken white people out of their cars and bashed them to death with bricks in front of the international media.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Someone had to say it!
Shall we start with you?
I think we should. The only way to get any kind of the only way to get
Wait, I just want to.
better now.
I do feel better now.
Alright,
The
let's move on. Let's just
the
go to
only
next.
way
I want to know, what does Lindsay Lohan think about that?
Lindsay Lohan. I love Lindsay Lohan. I would
probably
love to have a
drunk.
drink with her sometime.
I would
that'd
too.
be
Many.
amazing.
She sounds like a party girl.
I don't
Sounds like
know
she'd
if
be
you
a
can
good
have
time.
just one drink.
I don't think it's
She's
just
got no
one.
money to buy. I'm gay.
Would you rather hang out with Lindsay Lohan or Amanda Bynes?
Lindsay Lohan, definitely. Because Lindsay is kind of like one of the starters of the current trend of like crazy, tweeting, pop culture ladies.
Lindsay Lohan did
Yeah.
tweet. She started Twitter.
Well, she didn't start it, but I mean, she's like that original group. Her and Paris Hilton, Britney Spears.
Who's Amanda Bynes?
I don't know. She's kind of well. She was in the she was in that Hairspray movie. Penny Pingleton in that movie.
She was a
a
child
small
star on
star.
Nickelodeon for a while.
Right.
Doing a lot of sketch comedy.
Uh-huh.
at
Is
like
it a
14.
weird thing, like when you have a child star on Nickelodeon, is there a point where you're like, how long do I have to wait before it's okay to want to fuck this person?
Well, in America, luckily, it seems like it's totally acceptable to have a website that counts down the time to
17
the
days
age of
till she's
consent
legal, folks.
in seconds.
Only in America.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
So that's. It seems like you don't have to wait very long at all.
it. Cool. I love it.
But just recently they had a play here where it was about Amanda Bynes and they read her tweets. Different
read-
actresses.
Oh, and they were able to.
Yeah, it was Ben McCoy and Peaches Christ.
And did it do well?
Yes,
That was based on someone's fucking Twitter feed.
yes, because that's commentary on pop culture of today.
Yeah.
Because in years go ahead of us, we're going to look at all this stuff as being all antiquated and cute, and we'll be able to like download our whole like Facebook profiles from that year on like little bitty things that are like, oh, look how small it used to take up so much space. You know, it's just all going to be. I mean, you know, this would be like all big yearbooks.
Now, would they be able to filter it, or is it just you turning down thousands of event invitations?
I don't know. Can you imagine
all
that?
Year?
It's like throughout your time on Facebook, you've turned down 72 million Facebook invitations. You've ignored this many posts. I know. Well, it will if it keeps going like that. I mean, I can tell on the website they're like creating each year now.
Yeah.
Kind of. You have to hit, if you want to go down a certain amount, you have to go 2003 or whatever. You know, so. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, but you know, this is pop culture today. This is the way we're communicating. English is, I mean, you know, the language we communicate with is getting smaller. We're abbreviating new words. We're creating new ways of communicating, and it's just all going to keep going.
Do you think it's
It's
important,
fascinating.
like even if you don't have something to say, to just fucking make some noise?
Well,
You know-
that's what you got Twitter for.
But is that a mentality? Because I really like, if I don't have anything to fucking say, I don't want to say anything. But it seems like if you want to be famous, but then that kind of breeds this whole pop culture and fat cat billionaire morons and fucking.
Lots of people want to be famous. It sounds like a great deal until it actually happens to you, and then look what happens to you. Look at Michael Jackson. Look at all the people who become super famous and can't function as a regular human being anymore. It's like a disease.
Yeah. How have you dealt with fame, Sean?
It's been tough. It's been tough.
Isn't it tough?
On Twitter, I sort of made a mistake because I thought Twitter was really stupid when it first came out, and that no one would ever use it. I was like, what? Is this like a Facebook status update? So my Twitter name is LL Cool S.
There you
Stands
go.
for Ladies Love Cool
Cool
Sean,
Sean.
much like the
And don't
rapper.
they though?
And so it confuses everybody. It doesn't say anything about me, and I get a lot of random messages from people who somehow think it's affiliated with LL Cool J.
Right.
So I'll get messages about, I think he's on NCIS Los Angeles.
I believe he is,
And
yes.
occasionally I'll get these tweets that are like, NCIS
Way to go,
Los
rocking it.
Angeles, or people do casually use the N-word in a familiar way to me on Twitter a lot.
In the rapster way.
Yeah, in like a brotherhood
Yeah.
kind of way, not as a slur against
No.
me.
Oh.
But even if it was a slur against me, it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
I would
that
take it
much,
well.
I don't think.
No, you
That's-
wouldn't be,
that's-
you're not
I-
offended when people refer to you.
I'm
as
okay
right.
with people using the N-word on me.
Oh.
I don't feel comfortable using it myself, but
If I see you across the street, I can shout out the epitaph. Go, hey,
it does
Mike.
happen sometimes in San Francisco, but it's usually not black people.
It's usually drag queens.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I lived at 17th and Castro for a long time, and that was a common thread
I can only
in
imagine.
arguments between non-white and non-black people. Just
Exactly.
throwing
Across the
out
board.
slurs, yeah.
Well, it's just a word. That's the whole thing is. And it's a fascinating word, a la other like words like fuck and other words like that it have taken on so many connotations in our culture that it just depends on what mood you're in when you're using it and how you say it. So no wonder it drives, no wonder learning English for somebody from another country drives them crazy because we use words like 5 or 6 times different ways.
Is there any
intonations?
Is there any kind of slur that you use in Australia to refer to like a New Zealander or anything? You can say Kiwi, but that's not offensive, right? They call themselves Kiwis, right?
Yeah, they accuse New Zealanders of having sex with sheep,
Oh.
which I
That's-
think is disgusting.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do that.
They never call
I would
back.
say.
Huh?
Have sex with sheep or
The sheep,
accuse people of
they
that.
just never call back.
They never do.
No, they're just teases.
Sheep. Do you have any other taco stands that you can recommend in the mission before we wrap it up?
Oh yeah, I think El Farolito was great as well.
El Farolito's good too. La Cornetta.
And I have not been to their location, but they sponsored a lot of food for Sketchers. Taco-licious was delicious.
It's taco.
Now I've never paid for a Taco-licious taco, but I ate a lot of free ones in the
And the
green
free
room
ones
during
are-
Sketchfest. I mean, that might have added to my enjoyment of it, but I think they make a good product too.
Well, and again, Cancun. I mean, where else can you get a $5-6 burrito of that quality?
Yeah, well, and you don't have to eat for 18 hours. after
No,
you
not
have
at
one,
all.
So that's
Just take
pretty
a lot
good.
of Tums.
Yeah, and naps.
Spicy.
You need some naps.
That's
after
totally
that.
after eating one of those.
yeah.
Call them food bombs.
Yeah.
Food bombs?
Food bombs. So we have Sean's comedy, don't we, from Under the Golden Gate? You want to watch that?
Oh, yeah. Shit. We should have played that earlier on.
No, it's about time. I think now's the time.
Play.
So, do you have any gigs coming up besides your weekly that you want to promote?
That weekly's coming up. I'm also starting to host this monthly show, which is the last Thursday of the month. It's called Moonlighting.
Okay, where's that
It's
at?
at 50 Mason Lounge.
15 Mason.
Wasn't Sam Bentley doing that?
Yeah, he's not
Flaked?
doing that anymore.
You liked it?
I do not know what happened, but he's no longer the host, and I'm the host now.
You
Well,
are.
good. You'll be
I
a great
stabbed
host.
him in the back. No, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
And how do people contact you? Is it Facebook the best way?
Yeah, Facebook, Sean Keane Comedy on Facebook, SeanKeaneComedy.com. Of course, LL Cool S.
That's the
on
one to do
Twitter.
on
How
Twitter.
could you forget?
I went on your website today and there's like a picture of some fucking mustard.
Oh, yeah.
That's his website.
It's well, I found it's a little bit unconcerning. I found out that there's a company named Nate Dogs that makes hot dogs, and I just thought it was great because it's like Nate Dog.
Nate Dog. I don't
So
get
I
it.
put smoked sausage every day.
There you go.
Smoked sausage every day. Do love Nate Dogg. R.I.P.
There we go.
That was a good one.
Are we going to the video now?
Have we got the
Okay, here is Sean Keane as he performed at the Red Devil Lounge.
Everyone, welcome to the stage, Mr. Sean Keane, everyone. Mr. Sean Keane.
Thank you. Keep it going for Andrew, everybody. Amazing American accent. Andrew and my friend Tim was visiting from Sydney. We took him to the Outback Steakhouse 3 times in a week, and we made him do an American accent the entire time. Apparently one of their seafood items is from like a toxic body of water in Australia. Like you just under the bridge catch. All right, let's just get started. I recently got out of a relationship. Technically, I was forcibly removed from a relationship. That's how you have to get me out of the relationship. You get like an eviction notice. You got to get the sheriff to come. I just go limp, drag me out. Also, going limp too much, that will get you forcibly removed from a relationship. That's a good tip. We broke up right before Valentine's Day, which was a little bit sad, but I hadn't actually gotten a gift yet, so it was a little bit like my heart was broken, but my to-do list was empty, so that was kind of okay. I never know what to get for Valentine's Day. I know what I'm not ever going to get. That's a diamond ring from K Jewelers, right? I don't like their company. I don't like their advertising. There's one commercial that bothers me. It's a Christmas-themed ad for K Jewelers. Guy's celebrating Christmas with his hearing-impaired girlfriend. And they're sitting in front of the tree, and he says, "I know I don't speak much sign language." And he's waving one hand in the air like, this is where the sign language would have gone if I had learned it. And then he hands her a present, and it's a diamond engagement ring. And she's so happy, she smiles, and he signs, "I love you." And then they kiss, because every kiss begins with K, right? Because of the fucking alphabet, yeah. And we're all supposed to be blown away by how romantic this is. I can't get into the romance, because all I'm thinking is, what was their relationship like up to this point? Because it was serious enough that he would propose marriage on Christmas, but not so serious he'd learned more than 3 words of sign language leading up to that. Just getting by for months, so I'm like, let's order pizza. I just like catch her eye and be like, right? Because every fuck ends in K too. They don't tell you that in the commercial. They definitely do not. It's good to be here. I like, do you guys like go to food trucks? I love food trucks. There's one in particular I am fascinated by. I've never actually eaten there. It's an Ethiopian-Irish fusion food truck. It's over on 2nd and Folsom, combining the culinary traditions of Ethiopia and Ireland together. Like, for me, that's famine. Centuries of famine. I don't even know what happens when you go to the Ethiopian Irish food truck. You give them $7 and they send you to a different food truck. That's like 5 miles away. The UN's like parachuting in crepes. And then Bono from U2 writes a song about your terrible lunch. It's awful. It's a terrible song. He's rapping. It's just bad news. I was when a comic, I used to coach a kids swim team. I coached a team called the Forest Hills Beavers. over in the East Bay. And our slogan for this team was, "I've got beaver fever." That was our slogan, that was our cheer. The big banner above the pool that said that. It was also on the shirt that I had to wear every single day of the summer. So you have to prove, to prove to the kids that you're the adult in charge, and prove to the parents you're not just showing up to look at some little kids swim on a Saturday morning. Sometimes I would forget I was wearing my "I've got beaver fever" t-shirt. I'd go out to a bar, and that was not popular among people. Because this was not a beaver fever t-shirt from the store. You can't buy those. This is one of the team moms made at her house. So to the casual observer, it looked like a shirt that I had made at my house. My beaver fever was so out of control, I had to buy t-shirt making supplies and iron on letters to celebrate it. And I think it would have been okay if I covered for it, but I never did. Someone would say, "Nice shirt," and I go, "Oh, geez, you don't understand. I work with children. That's what this means. I work with little kids. What's going on?" I just live in Berkeley. Berkeley, make some noise in Berkeley. Anybody? Berkeley's such a political town as long as your political issue is slowing down traffic. That's all people care about. They have forgotten about the U.S. being in Afghanistan. They are protesting speed bumps every day of the week. You move to Berkeley, that's what you do. You get a stop sign at the end of your house. So you upgrade that to a stoplight. Then you get a big piece of concrete in the middle of the road. And then you bring in a troll that used to live in a fairy tale kingdom or make people answer riddles. They want to go straight through on a Saturday. Berkeley was also the first town that had those countdown pedestrian lights, that you know exactly how many seconds you had to cross the street. And that wasn't enough for Berkeley. They also had a different bird call every 5 seconds in case a sight-impaired person had crossed 15 other streets but got to that one intersection and it was a different bird from a different endangered rainforest, and the speaker was on a big pole that was from a new growth organic forest, not an endangered one. It was made by a company that hadn't invested in Israel but also wasn't anti-Israel. As long as no one enjoys himself at any moment, everyone in Berkeley can live to be 150 years old. So when they moved him to San Francisco, they realized that it wasn't safe anymore because drivers can see the numbers too. And that's way more dangerous when drivers are just staring at a countdown instead of pedestrians or other cars. Also, people in San Francisco have played enough video games. You play a lot of video games and you see a giant 5, 4, 3 in there. In your head, all you hear is checkpoint. And without even thinking about it, you stomp on the accelerator because you want that time bonus, the new tires or the missiles. If you hit a pedestrian, fucking extra life, right? Not a big deal. I don't even know why they're worried about people running red lights in Berkeley anyway, because if you're driving a hybrid vegetable oil-powered vehicle and you step on the accelerator, the car might go forward, but maybe the hemp transmission will just fall out in the middle of the road, the car will shudder to a halt, then a hippie carrying a didgeridoo will say, "Shoulda rode a bike." Probably shoulda rode a bike. That's a bad idea. Alright. That was good. Well, that's good. I'll tell you one more story then I'll get out of here. It's great to be here. A lot of drag show here. I used to live in the Castro when I first moved to San Francisco, and I was really excited about the Castro Halloween party. I decided I was a visitor to the Castro. I needed to come correct on Halloween. So I took my friend's suggestion and I was like, I'll wear a funny costume. Here was my funny costume. I wore a flesh-colored bodysuit and a bear hat, and I was Fuzzy Wuzzy. Because Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? I thought it was hilarious. What was hilarious is that I had not realized that was the sluttiest possible costume I could have worn to the Castro Halloween party. I had inadvertently picked up on the two biggest fetishes of my new neighborhood, which were hairlessness and bears. And that was it. I had dressed as a sex bear, accidentally. And at first I was like, wow, I'm getting all this attention. These people must really love wordplay. That must be what's going on. I just love the attention. People are high-fiving me, buying drinks in bars. It was so great. I didn't realize that I was a sex bear until someone came up and said, hey, little bear, I think it's time to hibernate. And I was so surprised that I tried to debate him scientifically. I'm like, no, it's a moderate climate here in Santa. A bear wouldn't sleep through the winter. And then I got like a little more antsy, and that's extra cute when a sex bear is dancing around, like shaking his fist and being real coy. And it was a delightful but harrowing night. And when I got home, I was like, all right, next year that was fun, but I can't dress as a sex bear again. So I just borrowed my roommate's cow costume. I thought that's a neutral Halloween costume. It's not a sexual fetish. Unfortunately, he's 6'4", I'm 5'8", and the udders that were right here when he wore the cow costume were right here on me. Thought I was a barnyard animal. I was a furry with 4 dicks. That's what I was. It's like, trick or treat, everybody! All right, thank you so much, Red Devil. I'm talking. Thanks a lot.